Yes, people. Okay. It's still taking me some getting used to doing these YouTube videos. Um, I've just managed to record the clip I wanted to record. Well, this what I'm going to do now again, with no sound. So yeah, it's going to take me some getting used to. You guys will have to bear with me. I will only improve over time with these videos and demonstrations. Okay. Um, Now, let's get into it. Okay, so episode one of the mini series, okay, of the portfolio rebalancing and management tool, right? This is going to be episode two, right? Now, in the last episode, it was a very basic demonstration of the process of depositing money and, well, depositing funds, capital, and as if you was depositing into KuCoin, Coinbase, Binance, or anything like that, how you would add that into the spreadsheet and the process of adding new transactions, okay? And essentially the effect on your portfolio, right? This, and saying that the last episode was looking at it from a clean slate, okay? This time we're going to demonstrate an example portfolio, right? And we're going to demonstrate one part of the rebalancing tool, right, called asset fund rebalancing. Um, Now, the idea behind asset fund rebalancing, right, is that you treat your portfolio a a fund, yeah, okay, and every investment that you make essentially you categorize them into these funds, right? And um, they can be based on narratives, okay, like AI, like deepin, decentralized physical infrastructure, all right, or layer ones, right? And that way, by allocating your capital into these different funds and treating your portfolio as such, you can basically play the narratives a lot better, all right? So you can either because narratives at the end of the day they don't last, they do disappear, right? You'll find there's always different narratives in different bull cycles, okay? And take 2021 was NFTs, that was very big at that time, okay? That didn't necessarily last, all right? And now we've got the likes of Deepin that's coming around. That AI is going to be obviously very predominant in the future, so you can begin circulating your capital between these different narratives and funds. All right, so this is an example portfolio. Okay, we've already made some deposits, we've already made some transactions, so we already have an existing portfolio. What we have here is we've got 7 investments in our current portfolio: Solana, Cardano, Bitcoin, Chainlink, and so on. Solana is currently we're very overweight in Solana. Okay, at the moment it's worth 40% of our entire portfolio, right? Which poses great risk if there's anything to happen to Solana network or or anything, okay, that's potentially a risk that can wipe 48% of your portfolio completely out. And as I always mention, think of like Luna, okay, think of like FTX and all those occasions, right? You never want to be overinvested into one token. Okay, you want to be fully diversified, okay? So we've got 48% of our portfolio in Solana. That is because, we've seen a 328% gain on our investment, right? So our average buy was $24. We invested a total of $360, right? So our investment is now worth over $1,500. Okay, that's a 328% return on investment. All right, and that's why we're sitting at 48%. Okay, Cardano's at 16, Bitcoin's at 14%, and so on. So what we're going to demonstrate is the asset fund rebalancing. All right, and you'll see how large the amount of capital we have in layer ones. All right, and that we want to diversify some of that capital out into different funds that we've categorized, right? And if you remember from episode 1, grayed out cells are for your manual inputs. White cells are automatic calculations. Okay, that's the meat of this tool. That's all that's all where the hard work happens, right? So in column M, whenever you enter in a new token, which we demonstrated in episode 1, you just want to categorize it. Okay, so categorize it as layer 1, as an oracle, as a gamified, deep in Cardano native tokens, anything, right? Now you'll find that this list in column C, okay, we have just copied and pasted into our asset fund rebalancing tool into column B. Okay, in fact we can take this out because that's no longer in there. All right, okay, so a quick run around walkthrough of what's on this tool. You've got your capital, which table is self-explanatory, your current balance and the amount that you've got to buy, the amount that you've got to sell from these funds. Yep, self-explanatory. You've got current allocation, okay, and you've got your target allocation. They're going to be the same at the moment until we begin rebalancing. And then you've got your target weight of asset funds. All right. So as you can see here, we've got the tokens that we're invested in and that we are interested in. Okay, so 40% just over Solana, Cardano 16%. And you can see in our current allocation, we have in fact 73% of our portfolio weighted in layer ones. All right, and a total of 11% in oracles, okay, and 2% in central exchanges, and we've put Bitcoin as its own category, okay, so 14% there. All right, so this table is just your current portfolio, okay, and all the information is pulled from the portfolio tab. All right, the next table is your current balance, okay, and you can see here, column B, we've got the asset funds, right? So this is a total of all of your tokens that have been categorized per fund and what the accumulative balance is or accumulative value is of those tokens that have been categorized. For example, is layer ones, okay? So you can see layer ones, which we are 73% weighted in. That's a total of $2,324. Yeah, super easy, right? And then you've got target balance, okay? So this is where we want to begin to essentially begin adjusting our weightings of those funds, okay? And then in the rebalancing tool, that is the meat of this tool, okay? That'll give you the net difference between your current weight and your target weight. That'll give you a direction whether you've got to sell some capital from those funds or purchase, okay? Yeah, and it'll give you the totals that you have to buy or sell from each of those funds, all right? So we're going to begin adjusting these weightings now, okay? So let's take layer ones. We're currently weighted at 73%. We want to bring this right down to 30%. Okay, so that gives us a direction to sell. There's a net difference of 43%, and it tells us exactly how much to sell. Okay, which is over $1,300 from that fund. Bitcoin, we want to reduce to zero. Okay, and you can see how at the bottom of here that our portfolio is currently, our capital in our portfolio is currently 43% utilized. Okay, so we have 57% to play with. Yeah. Central exchange coins, we want to reduce to zero. Okay, that now gives us 59% to play with. All right, so we now want to gain exposure, well, we want to increase our exposure to oracles. Okay, so let's say 20%. That might be to increase exposure into Chainlink, or to start a new position into Quant, right? And that part of the rebalancing tool we'll look into another episode, okay, where we begin to rebalance from tokens as opposed to funds, right? We want to gain exposure to Deepin because that's a narrative that is definitely coming around now, and it's going to be a big narrative. Okay, so that might be your tokens like IGON, okay, or World Mobile Token, okay, WMT. So let's say, fairly new narrative, let's say we just want a 10% exposure of our portfolio, okay, gives us direction to buy $320 worth, okay. AI, that's going to be a predominant narrative over the next few years. 20%, right? See, it's super, super simple. This is all we're adding is the target balance, and you can see how current allocation remains the same. Target allocation is then adjusted, and you can see target weight of asset funds begins to adjust. Okay, we've now got 20% left to play with, as we've utilized 80% of our capital, right? And you can see at the top that there's direction to spend $1,200 and to rebalance $1,800 of our capital. All right. Gamify, we want to, let's say, make that 20, no, let's say 15%. Okay. In Gamify, right? So that's the likes of Vulcan Forged, Nakamoto Games, anything along the lines of that, maybe Axie Infinity, okay, or Sandbox, yeah. And then we've got 5% left, so let's say we, very niche narrative, especially at the moment, Cardano native tokens, so 5%, right? You can now see that our portfolio has now been rebalanced to 100%, okay? And we can just filter this by descending, all right? You can just ignore these errors, okay? We can just do this by descending, so from highest being 30%, 20%, and so forth. And you can see how this adjusts our target weighting, all right? So layer one's 30, AI 20%, and so on. And you can see the impact of that from current allocation. Okay, remember we were 0% in AI, Gamify, Deepin, native Cardano native tokens, and so forth, 73% in layer ones, and that's now been adjusted to target allocation of 30% in layer ones, Oracle 20, AI 20, and so forth. So yeah, it's super easy. As you can see, we had to input very little information aside from the tokens we were interested in and the target weight that we wanted. All right. And now you can essentially begin making trades and adjusting your portfolio based on those funds, those narratives that you want to gain exposure to, okay, or reduce exposure from. All right. So yeah, this is episode 2. Okay, episode 3, we'll actually look at token rebalancing, right? and this will actually tell you how much of the token that you have to sell, all right, or purchase, okay, and then you can go and make those trades on your exchanges and so forth, all right. Okay, so thanks for listening, guys, and if you haven't already, go check out episode 1. That's a very brief demonstration into the portfolio management side and recording your transactions. Okay, so thank you all, and bye.